ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. Welcome to the Midday Market Report, Wednesday, August 12th, a 82-degree sunny day on Cape Cod. Still humid, but we survived the heat wave, the humidity, and feels pretty good out there. Got about 9K out there already this morning. Maybe go back and get some more. So good day. Headliner today, will the Braves continue to cause MAHLE, LOL there, as it's funny how, especially in baseball, the peaks and valleys, the teams that get hot and then come back down to earth. You know, you rattle off 27-3, and next thing you know, of course, I get a power surge. Bear with me. And I'm back here. I've had one of those weeks from hell. I anything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and it is what it is. As we just start a show, we get a power surge. So apologies to anyone that was on here. Please jump back in. The internet remains undefeated. As I was going on talking about the peaks and valleys, you rattle off 27-3, you're going to lose a few. Well, the Sox have lost 4 in a row, still comfortably in the playoffs, but the Rays are extending. Next thing you know, here come the Jays, and the team flying under the radar is this Braves team, and someone that I follow that very interesting, talking about the NL, who's going to beat the Dodgers. And Snell came back yesterday and looked like Cy Snell, of course, there. But, of course, ECSI VIP's snake bit. Snell minus a hook first 5, 1-1. And Dodgers minus the full 1.5, of course, win by 1. Death taxes, and when I go against Kansas City, Sal Perez, the ancient Sal Perez, does it to me again. So, but the Braves flying under the radar. And that's what this gentleman talked about. The mind goes to Mizorowski in Milwaukee. The mind goes to the Phillies. They have the pitching. Can they get the timely hitting? The mind goes to the surging Cubs. No one's talking about the Braves. And I know their frontline pitching sucks. I know that. But they have veterans. They have leaders. They have people with experience in postseason. So that makes them, of course, dangerous as all. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And without further ado, let's bring him in, Mr. Scotty Webb. What's up, Jim?
Hey, how can a team that's got 70 wins be flying under the radar?
No one's talking about the Braves.
I'm just messing with you. No, I hear you. I don't blame people for not talking about the Braves. I think the Braves are out. I mean, they'll make the playoffs, but they ain't gonna be nobody.
That's the mindset. That's my point. That's the mindset. They don't stack up to the Dodgers. They don't stack up to the Brewers. They don't stack up to the Phillies. The only team they stack up to, they don't stack up. I think they kind of stack up to the Cubs. Both need elite front end pitching. The only team they stack up that might sneak in is the Padres.
Yeah, well, that's a maybe. I mean, Sale's the only pitcher they got. Sale's got a 4.2 WAR, Elders a 1.1, Martin Perez 1.1, Reynaldo Lopez 0.4, Holmes 0.4, Molly's a 0.4. I mean, like these guys are just also ran pitchers. So when you make the playoffs, these guys are going to have to hit. Well, you're going to face the best pitchers in baseball. That's why they're on the playoff teams, and that's where they're going to run into problems. So whatever. I mean, it's the Braves, and um, the best thing that I think the Braves can hope for is keep running the record up as much as they can, so they can get as many home games as they can get. Because they're bad on the road too. They don't hit on the road. The bats don't travel. I will say this: their bullpen's been really good all season. It's been really good. So it's not dominant. Like they don't have guys that are going to come in and strike out the world. But their bullpen has been pretty good, and that's I think how they've been winning these games. Most of them. Obviously they win. They hit a little bit here and there, and Matt Olson has kind of carried the offense, and Drake Baldwin's been really good. But Albies is better than he was last year, but he's still not the greatest guy in the world anymore. And Acuna is what I don't know what he is. So it is what it is. I don't have any issue with the Braves. None. I just won't bet them very often. Maybe as a dog you can bet them, but how do you expect to bet them and cover against these teams when you got pitching deficits?
Any updates on Strider or Schwellenbach?
The only updates I've seen on any of those two guys is that if they come back at all, they're going to be bullpen guys. They wouldn't be starting pitchers. But I haven't seen anything that says anything positive. Anyway, let me go look. Hold on. Let me go look at the Braves. Ba, 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 ba. So Schwellenbach is still showing no timetable for return, and Strider is showing questionable for 2026 season. So Strider's not going to come back. It's going to be Schwellenbach and maybe as a relief guy if he comes back at all. So I don't know. I was trying to see who else is on there. Reynaldo Lopez is on there now. He went out on August 1st with knee inflammation and no timetable for his return. But these guys sometimes get put on that stuff because they don't know what to do with them, and they don't like their performance to a certain degree, and they throw them out there and say, hey, it's no good. But whatever. I mean, my opinion on the Braves isn't that they're a bad baseball team. They're winning a pretty tough division. I mean, when you got to beat the Phillies and the Mets and I guess the Marlins are in there now. They're a 500 team, and the Nationals just score runs. So it's not a tough, it's a division that, you're winning. Well, that's good. And they're a good baseball team. Having said all that stuff, when you start matching them up to the other good baseball teams, like, if you put them in the American League, they match up to everybody. But you put them in the National League, and it's hard because the pitchers are so much better in the National League throughout the first 2 or 3 or 4 guys. So I think it's a bad spot for them, and they could have done better. I shouldn't say better. They could have done more. That's a better way to say it. Which means better, but they could have done more at the trade deadline to get another pitcher. What they got was helpful the first time around. He pitches again today, but he's a average pitcher at best. So So, I get it. You need to have somebody fill in those innings. And they kind of like Richie in the bullpen with the other kid, whatever his name is now. Um, that kind of flamethrower kid, whatever his name is. Yeah, Fuentes. Yep, they like him. And what pitcher really? And I got to go back. The pitcher that has if I change this to all pitching, um, the Chris Sale leads which whatever he's 4.2 WAR. The next guy in line is 1.8 WAR, and that's a relief guy. That it's Dylan Lee and Didier Fuentes is 1.7. Those two guys are helping carry this team. And then Martin Perez, Bryce Elder, and then their closer. So, that's what I'm saying. Their bullpen's been good, and we'll just see kind of what that means in the playoffs because I don't want to sit here and say that Sale's been really good. He's very hittable. Says he's got big strikeouts, but there's times he goes out there and struggles. I mean, they all do, but he's probably a little more that way than the others.
And don't forget, last year he tapped out in Game 3. He had a chance to pitch Game 3 and he tapped out. Not to beat a dead horse here, but is it time to put Skeens on the shelf? Didn't crack 98 yesterday. Enough's enough.
Well, there's a problem, and I've been saying it all season. I don't know what it is. He seems healthy, but his results are not, and his measurement on stuff is going down and down and down and down and down. It's not. My opinion would be is that you can't sit him and say, hey, we're going to put him on the shelf unless you absolutely tell us why you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, well, we know there's a problem. We got to run him through testing. We got to do all this stuff and figure out what's going on with Paul Skeens. Or, his arm's falling off. We got to make sure that his arm doesn't fall off and because we need him next year. Or whatever the situation is. That I saw there's a guy, his name is John Pietro or some weird name like that, who's a longtime Pittsburgh baseball writer. He's kind of a I don't want to say sadly fellow. I don't know what to say. He's pessimistic about everything. So he says the problem is look at Paul Skeens 2 years ago and look at him today. He's 20 pounds heavier. And he says it's a weight issue. I will tell you that has nothing to do with a pitcher. It has nothing to do with a pitcher. Look at David Wells, for God's sakes. Goes out and throws a damn no-hitter, and he's got a beer belly and came in drunk. So my point is, you don't even have to be athletic to be a pitcher. Yeah, I mean, you got to be athletic in certain, in the process of throwing the ball, but you don't have to be like this pristine athlete to be a pitcher. So if you're 20 pounds overweight or 20 pounds heavier than you were, that doesn't mean that that's the reason why you're having difficulty. Could it? Maybe. I doubt it. The arm doesn't really have a whole lot of and watching what he does in his pregame routines and all that stuff, I don't think weight has anything to do with it. But I guess it was just somebody saying, hey, you know what? Here's a thought. He's 20 pounds heavier than he was. I don't know. I mean, nobody's saying anything, and he's not either. Paul Skeens, right? He's just saying, I got to be better. I got to whatever. It's all noise. And, you got to. There's a problem. We knew there was a problem, and nobody's talking about the fix of the problem, and or maybe he just sucks now. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't say it that way because he doesn't suck. He's pitching very well. If you didn't know what he did before, and this is the best that he's done, it's pretty good. It's not terrible. He's a top 10 pitcher in a Major League Baseball. Pirates, like the number one guy.
Pirates 58-63, 3-7 their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. I think they're like 1-11 his last 12 starts.
They're not
Cardinals,
hitting, man. That team isn't hitting at all.
they're 6 games back in the wild card. Reds, Nationals, Cards, Miami, Phillies, Padres, Diamondbacks, all in front of them. And then, of course, the Cubs are the 6.5 game lead. So if it was me, if this was hockey, Scott, at the end of the year when half the team is going in for surgery, they played with this, they played with that. And I'm not going to bring up the WBC. I'm not going down there. My point, very simply, we knew a long time ago something was wrong. And there is something wrong. And maybe he's just being, quote unquote, that team player saying, hey, I'm trying everything that I can to get us across the finish line to make the playoffs. Maybe it'll be September 1st when they're, 9 games out, and then he comes out and says, we're shutting it down. I mean, save the arm, save the innings. Because at this point, let's be realistic. The Pirates aren't making the playoffs.
No, I think the Pirates are finished. My thought is that they've had too many injuries to overcome certain things on offense. That kind of Griffin thing's a bad deal for them. That wasn't good, and they brought up some kids and Esmeralda, or whatever his name is, Valdez, hit all those home runs and he's doing all that stuff. Well, look at his batting average today. It's like 230. These guys aren't hitting. And, they brought in Brandon Lowe, who's done a great job, but, his batting average isn't any good. And I know it's not the end of the world not to have a bad batting average because everybody does. But, you still got to produce runs. And you got to get on base to produce runs. And if you don't get on base, it's a hard thing. So, O'Hearn's been okay. Reynolds has been okay. But, there's a lot of things going on in Pittsburgh. And in my opinion, one of the things that's going on is they hired the wrong manager. I mean, this Don Kelly guy was, he was the interim manager, and then they rallied the kids and okay, let's keep him, and they made him a manager, and boy, he's just retarded. So I don't think that was a good choice. But that's just me, and maybe. Obviously they thought it was, and they're paying the guy, so it was. What other options did they have at the time? I don't know, but my point being is that I think there's several things still wrong in Pittsburgh, but I think they've got the foundation for a solid franchise. They got great pitching, with Jones, with Ashcraft, with Skeens, and whatever that kid's name is that's always showing up. Huh?
Bubba Chandler.
Bubba, right? Bubba's developing. I'm talking about the kid in the minor leagues, Rodriguez, or whatever the hell that guy's name is. He's like second or third prospect in all of baseball now. So that kid is developing, and they're going to have great pitching. They still don't have a good bullpen, and I think that some of the kids are coming up and playing pretty well on offense. They just need to have. They need to have what some of these teams just don't. They don't have that power in the 3 and 4 holes. Like I say, power, we're going to hit all those home runs, but they're just loving today's sports. It's amazing. It says, and hey, that's our friend. It was gone and now he's back. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh is going to be there. He's like, Rays are freaking amazing. Are we for real this year or what? It's amazing what the Rays do, because every year I sit there and look at them, and then every year, I'm a data guy, so and advancing through the data and stuff, it's like, how are they going to be competitive, and how are they going to do this, and how are they going to do that? And they always figure it out. They always buck some of the trends that are out there. But I will say this, the Rays in the playoffs, I don't know what that looks like. I mean, Rasmussen's their guy. Rasmussen's pretty good. And then what do you got after Rasmussen? Don't tell me you're going to throw Martinez, right? I mean, if you throw Martinez, I mean that's great that he's had a good season, but he's very hittable. He's going to get hit. So I just wonder, what it looks like there, and timing's going to be the thing for the Rays. If if they if they if they are in a spot where their big three are hitting and they're hot going into the playoffs, they're going to be okay. But if not, it isn't. It is what it is. Says Boston's falling apart. Look, Boston's not falling apart. You just everything has a well. Yes, home field advantage for Tampa Bay is important. They love playing there. But I will say Boston's going to go through a little bit here, and they're going to regress back to a little bit like what they were. You can't be 27-4 or whatever their number was, 31-5 or whatever it was, and stay that way through the rest of the season. So it's going to be, if they go 500, that's pretty good. Maybe a little above 500, that's pretty good. The rest of the way, but they got pitching to hold. It says Yankees are going to be okay. Well, we'll see what it looks like when they get their hitters back. Their pitching is good. Their starting pitching is good. Their bullpen's been good. That's the edge the Yankees kind of have. I'll just say it this way: there are three teams I think that can win the American League. Three, and they all reside in the American League East. There ain't nobody else coming out of there. It's the Yankees, it's the Rays, or it's the Red Sox. That's it. Nobody else.
American League falling apart in the Central. White Sox 4-6 their last 10. Minnesota 3-7 their last 10. Guardians 2-8 their last 10. Here come the Tigers right now, a half game behind Texas, 4 games behind the Red Sox for that last wild card spot. Right now in the win-loss column, 2 games behind. We gave out Tigers plus 750, plus 700 handful of weeks ago, and Scotty's been pumping the bandwagon as well here to win the Central. The bust of the year, hands down, and it's not even up for a debate right now. Seattle Mariners now 56-64, losers of 5 in a row, 3-7 their last 10. Scotty, every trade deadline, they're going to move one of these guys. They move Castillo. The point is, I hate to say it this way, almost time to blow that team up.
Well, the strength of that team was always their starting pitching, and then they brought in some guys and supposed to be hitters. We'll see. I mean, I thought of Rosarena when he went there the first year, kind of struggled a little bit learning Seattle and all that, but he's been their best player this year. And I always, and maybe I'm stupid sometimes, but I think their center fielder, Rodriguez, I think he's the most overrated quote superstar there is. I mean, he's a selfish guy, and I don't think he's any good. Obviously he can play, but I mean I don't think he's like the greatest thing. And then Cal Raleigh struggles this year has been retarded. And then you look at it and go, well, they got Naylor to play first base, and he's supposed to be good. Well, I don't know that he's that good either. I think he's a bad person, but whatever. And then Donovan, right? Donovan came over this year. He was supposed to be the guy that gets hit. He's been hurt a lot back and forth, so I don't know. I don't know what they are. I mean, what do they? I mean, they got pitchers, but the pitchers don't win, right? I mean, you can take any one of them guys, Kirby. You can put Gilbert. You can put any of those guys that are out there and match them up to the other guys, and they just don't win. So in a lot of ways, they don't pitch well enough to win. If you match them up to another ace, the ace beats them. So if you match them up to somebody they should beat, they do. So I'm not sure what Seattle really is. On paper, their talent level is better than everybody else except like the Yankees. And that's when the Yankees are, obviously healthy and good. They're a AAA team they're putting out there now. Holy crap. But, it is what it is. He said he didn't miss Randy on the Rays. I don't, Randy on the Rays, he was only okay. I don't think he was starry kind of player, meaning that, he's flashy and stuff. And the Rays didn't really have that. So that was kind of neat. It says the Rays had 29 hits yesterday, 6 home runs, fire. It doesn't count when you play the A's. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care how many hits you get. I don't care how many home runs you have. It's a triple A team that you're playing, triple A pitching that you're playing, and it's a triple A stadium. It doesn't matter. So it was great for Walls to hit 2 home runs, and he hadn't hit any. So there you go. A guy had 0 home runs all season, hit 2 yesterday. So it says Boston could not be. What does it say? It says
they won 2 out of 3 in Oakland, and they lost. They won the first game on Friday, lost the next 2. Afternoon day baseball, Scotty. I'm going to let you do your thing. We're almost a half hour already in, so I'm going to.
That's all right. Look, here's some new rules around my thing. I'm not going over every game anymore. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. If you have a game that I don't go over and you want me to, let me know, and I will. The whole point of what I'm going to get to here in a second is there's some games that don't matter. It just doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter to the teams, and it doesn't. So I'm not wanting to bet those games. So I'm going to put games that I have of interest and that I think are probably bet worthy to start, and then I'm going to Texas plays the Angels today. Quantrill plays against Clausen. I'm not going over that. If you want me to, we'll get into it. But my point being is there's going to be quite a few games that I skip through. So anyway, I just want to make sure as we're kind of coming down to the wire and we're doing some of this stuff is not worthy of talking about.
All right, do your thing.
All right, so let me get this back over here now. Bum, 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 bum. I should do this in 2 ways. I'm going to pull this up over on this side. Where is it? There it is. So what I've got going on my screens is obviously the work that I do and analyzing the games. And then second, I wanted to make sure I have my numbers up for lines and odds and different things that I make. And then in comparison to the numbers that are real, and the numbers that are real that I use are Profit X numbers. So they're going to be a little bit softer than what most people can get to. So make sure you double check your number to my number. Anyway, the first game that I wanted to go over was Baltimore and Minnesota. I can't figure this out. And I say I can't figure this out because every time I've looked at Baltimore placing Minnesota, I think Baltimore's the better team. I think Baltimore has the better pitcher. I think Baltimore should win the game. I bet Baltimore and they lose. Today is no different. I like Shane Baz way better than I like Zebby Matthews. Zebby Matthews, for example, has a 3/4 run, so 0.76. He has a 0.76 run edge disadvantage to Baz. Now, here's another big point. Shane Baz has become like a 3 projected WAR guy. He's pretty good, and I didn't think he was going to get that high, but he is. He's that high. And Zebby Matthews, he's a 0.5, 0.6 guy. He's not even a 1. So there's a huge disparity in the pitching, the starting pitching. And it really shows up in a couple of spots. Their strikeout rates are about the same, but Baz doesn't walk guys. His walk percentage is 4%, and Zebby Matthews is 11. I mean, he puts guys on base, and that's bad. And then Shane Baz doesn't give up home runs, and Matthews is allowing 1.5. So those are problems. And that's exactly why you have a bad situation in the run value edge. But it gets worse because you can offset that a little bit if, you hold the guys from getting on base via hits or the whip rate is low, or stuff like that, swing and miss and all that stuff. But it's not. He's got 8.8, which is red in swing and miss percent. That's terrible. It needs to be much higher, average for Baz. But Baz is a 2.23 batting average and a 1.01 whip rate. That's green. That's really good. Those are top 25 in baseball. When you look at Zebby Matthews, it's 291 batting average and 1.74 whip rate. Guys are on base and they're hitting the ball. So he walks them and he gives up hits. That can't be good. And then he's a minus 12.19 RE24 score guy. Well, that's one of the worst ones in all of baseball. Minus 12 is god awful. So what that means is, he's going to give up big innings and 3-4 runs in an inning. He has the potential to blow up. So his game score in the last 7 starts is 40, Zebby Matthews. What's the line in this game? Zebby Matthews minus 102. I don't get it. So I like Shane Baz. My number in the game was Baltimore minus 132. The other issue here that you run into is that offensively these teams are about the same. You got Baltimore scoring 3.8 runs a game, Minnesota 4.8 runs a game, but Baltimore ranks 4th, Minnesota ranks 8th. So they're really, really similar in offense when it comes to that. Baltimore's got 9 home runs in the last 6 games, Minnesota 7. So right about the same target numbers. To me, this is going to come down to pitching. Minnesota's bullpen's been maybe a little better than Baltimore, so kind of look at it that way too. Your definite edge is in the first 5 innings for Baltimore. However, I think they're going to be the favorites in that spot. I would just rather take them as a small, tiny dog in the whole game and say, let's go. Let's see what happens. Pete Alonso's been hitting pretty well. So hopefully he can do that again. I thought this was an interesting game. I didn't really get too involved in wanting to bet it just because of the price. This is Philadelphia, Wheeler, and St. Louis. My number in the game is Wheeler minus 145. Profit X had it at 152. My guess is it's going to be bet up a little bit because it's Phillies and Wheeler. But I'm going to say this again. I've been saying it ever since I noticed it. Kyle Leahy for St. Louis had made a pitching change. And since he's made the pitching change, and it's eight starts now. So in his last 7 starts, he's a game score 60. Game score 60 in his last 7. Well, that's what aces do. He is a game score 57 over his last 3 starts. Wheeler is a 37 in his last 3 starts. He's had 2 bad starts, 1 good start. He's a 54 in his last 7. So I'm not saying he's going to have a bad day. I'm just saying that he hasn't been as good as he was. So the actual pitching edge in terms of run value score is not Wheeler. Wheeler is a 3.10, 3.10. Perfect. That's great. Those are good numbers. Just barely over 3. That's great. Leahy's under 3. He's a 2.44, 2.72. That's where he's at. That puts him in a spot where theoretically he is, almost half a run better. Yes, he doesn't strike out as many, but he's a green strikeout guy. So Wheeler is 31% strikeouts. Leahy's 26. Leahy's 2% walks. Doesn't put anybody on base. And you're getting Wheeler at average in walks. Wheeler's giving up home runs right now, two a game, and Leahy's only doing 1 a game. So I think it's interesting to see this breakout this way, because if you then go and say, hey, if I got a little bit better pitcher in Leahy than I do in Wheeler, and I know that makes a lot of crazy sense, but that's what the numbers show. Philadelphia is 113 weighted runs created plus. St. Louis 106. Hardly any difference. The Phillies are scoring 4.8 runs a game. St. Louis 4.6 runs a game. Hardly any difference. So, do you really want to bet St. Louis? I mean, do you at home against Wheeler? Maybe the price is right to bet it. Let's just say that. I'm not doing it, but the price is right. I said this a lot lately. The price is right, but I'm not doing it. And then the Mets go win as underdogs all this time, and all these other teams win as underdogs. Look, I'm not a great predictor of underdogs, other than to tell you that I think that these are the spots. And if you don't think underdogs can cover and do different things, watch the Royals play the Dodgers. You're betting -1.5, and they're covering every time. So anyway, my point is, I think St. Louis is going to be very competitive today. Leahy's been really great. He's been much better than Wheeler, but Wheeler's due for a good start too. So we'll see what that looks like. My computer, by the way, today only likes 2 spots. That's it. It likes Tampa Bay on the road, which obviously Tampa Bay is going to kill teams, the A's anyway, and it likes the New York Yankees, which I was surprised about. I didn't bet that game, but they're surprised about it. It does suggest Detroit as a possibility for a play today, and it says Miami. And I don't want to bet Miami. Junk's not very good. So anyway, those are the spots my computer picked. But I did look at this Tampa Bay game just because I wanted to see if there was variance enough that it would make sense to bet the -1.5. The -1.5 numbers out there too. So it's a big number. Rasmussen's a 2.64, 2.55 run value score. It's really good. And Perkins is terrible. Perkins is 4.71, 4.25. So Rasmussen's almost 2 runs better. Well, there's your 1.5 that you need. And then offensively, if you looked at offense and you went and said, hey, the Rays are scoring 6 runs a game and the A's are scoring 4.5, well, there's another 1.5 runs. And then the A's are -5 runs to an average offense, and the Rays are 8.5 runs better than an average offense. Hey, PB, how you doing? I think you could probably start stretching it out to a point where, hey, 1.5 is a spot that you might like to look at. I wanted to go over here for a second. And if you look at that number spread and you go and say, hey, there it is. You're still paying -140 for that number. I'm not paying -140 for -1.5. That's just, I'm not doing it. So anyway, that's my point is you get to these spots and you start looking at certain things, and then all of a sudden you can't bet it anyway. I mean, so I should have just skipped this game, but it was more fun to look at. The next game that let's see what I got. Go back to here. I did not look at Colorado and Arizona. I didn't want to get involved in what is it? It's Arizona's -175, something like that. They lost yesterday to Colorado, and they have Merrill Kelly on the mound. Merrill Kelly, by the way, is on Streamer. Projected WAR 0. He's equivalent to a call-up AAA guy. That's what he is. Now, having said that, most of that is because of what he did at the beginning when he was coming back when he was hurt. And he took him a long time to get it going, and he's still hit or miss with all of that. But he's been hitting a lot more than he's been missing. So he's pitching much better, but he's still a 0. And on Zips, he's a negative. So he's not even a positive pitcher. So, in theory, it's better to bring up a AAA guy and let him pitch. But Feltner's no good either. This was interesting because it was 2 negative WAR pitchers today. Whatever. So, I'm not getting involved in this. If somebody wants me to break it down, we can go into it. But I see no value in betting 175 on a guy that's no good. Now the next game I did look at to a certain degree because hey, look, there's Rocket Sauce. Says, good afternoon. Let me be the first to tell you the Phillies ain't making the playoffs. Well, you'd be the first to tell me that. Who? Let me ask you this question: if the Phillies aren't gonna make it, who's gonna make it? The Padres? Are you gonna tell me the Padres are gonna make it in, and not the Phillies? Anyway, just thinking. All right, so this game is Houston. Now I know Houston's got King listed as the starter. Well, that's fine. He's an opener. This is Ronaldo Blanco. All right, this is Blanco's start. He's made 4 starts, and in the 4 starts, he is a game score 39. Okay, you can't bet him, and not only can you not bet him, when you look at where they are on offense, they are 27th out of 30 teams. Well, of course, they are playing the 30th ranked offense in San Francisco, and Hauser's going to be the guy that ends up pitching most of this game. Look, hands off. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. These 2 pitchers are terrible. Hauser's been more reliable, more consistent. Certainly, they're going to try to mitigate Blanco by having an opener for him. Look, Houston needs to win these games, especially against San Francisco. But I don't know. This is kind of a bad spot in terms of matchup wise. And then again, if you're not hitting and where's Houston? Houston's 69 weighted runs created plus, so they're 31% worse than an average team. They are 7.6 runs worse than an average team. The only green thing they got going for them is they're not striking out. But their hard hit rate's 28.9. Of course, San Francisco is 28.2 because they're the worst hitting team right now. So you got 2 terrible hitting teams going against each other. Whatever. What's the line in this game? Houston minus 130. My number was actually San Francisco minus 104. So I think there's value on that side, which would probably be the side I bet, but I'm not betting that game. The next one is Milwaukee, San Diego. I did look at this because, hey, look, Dustin May is making a second start for Milwaukee. And then you have Robbie Ray making his second start for the Padres. And the Padres have been beating the crap out of Milwaukee. It's been pretty funny. And here's how they've been doing it. It's not they've been doing it via offense. They are scoring 5.3 runs a game. They rank second in offense right now, San Diego. So it's good. They're hitting. They're 138 weighted runs created plus, so 38% better than an average offense. And then you come out and they are 9.4 runs better than an average team. And Milwaukee's 2.4 worse. So Milwaukee's more averages. They rank 21st, 95 weighted runs created plus. They're just not, killing the ball, but they never really kill the ball. They only kill the ball when they got 6 guys on offense hitting, and they don't have that right now. So it's interesting how all that breaks out. I think I'm sort of surprised that when you look at Milwaukee's pitching as a team, and you go and say, what are they going to look like in the playoffs? And they got Mizorowski going first. Who's going to pitch second? Harrison gives up 8 runs, 10 runs, and stuff like that, and he's falling apart right now. So I don't think you really want him going second. Are you going to throw Henderson? Henderson? Maybe you throw Henderson. He's a pretty good pitcher, Logan Henderson. Or maybe you throw this guy, Dustin May. Dustin May might be the guy that you throw second. How does all that match up to the Dodgers? I don't know. I mean, I think Mizorowski is going to get 5 innings or less as he goes along. Might be skip the start here and there to cruise in so that his arm's as fresh as possible going into the playoffs. And then I think what you got to do is I don't know what you're going to do with Harrison. That's the problem. I mean, he's a good pitcher, but he's not been doing it right now. This particular game, I think I think you have a better pitcher in May than you do in Ray. But you got a much better offense going on with San Diego. You got momentum going on with San Diego. I have the game at much higher number. Milwaukee's minus 110 on ProfitX. I have it at much higher number than like more like 140. And the reason that comes into play is because winning percentage wise, it's the Dodgers at power rating number one, and I know that they won't necessarily show that their power, their winning percentage isn't higher than Milwaukee's right now, and Milwaukee's number two, and the Padres are 500, so they're much better than those teams, but the way they're playing and what's going on right now, I think that this becomes sort of more coin flippish, and I don't want to bet a coin flippish game. And if I really thought about it, I would want to bet Milwaukee, but I don't want to bet against these teams that are hot. They're on streaks, they're winning. And when do you win a bet teams? When they're hot, on streaks, when they're winning. Or bet against a team that's cold and losing, like Milwaukee. So it kind of fits the other way. And maybe that's the approach that you want to take in this game. But I think that you're fighting a lot if you do that. Meaning that I think Ray is a worse pitcher than May, but you're going to have a better offense. So are you going to bet your offense against the pitcher? You're going to lose a lot if you do that. But anyway, let's move on. Moving along. Cleveland and Detroit. I wanted to look at this game because this is very important. And what we haven't talked about yet is Cleveland plays Detroit. So that's Detroit playing Cleveland, right? Next game series for Detroit is the White Sox. So they played Cleveland and the White Sox this week. And they're doing a pretty good number on Cleveland. If they do a pretty good number on the White Sox, they're going to be by the end of this weekend. They'll be in front. We'll see what happens. Now, this is Foster Griffin in his second start for Cleveland, and Detroit's going to throw Valdez. Valdez has got 50 game score for the season. He's a 48 for his last 7. So he's been an average pitcher at best, and he wasn't supposed to be. He's supposed to be an ace, but he's been an average pitcher. And Griffin, who's supposed to be an average pitcher, has been an above average pitcher. He's a 55. Now, I don't know what's going on with Foster Griffin. He hasn't been pitching good lately. His last 3 starts is a game score 35. And if I were to slide this out here, there it is. It was a 24 his last time out, his first time with Cleveland, and a 23 his last time out for Washington. Prior to that, it was a 59, 63, 78. So maybe he just had 2 bad starts and this is going to be a rebound, or maybe he just sucks. I'm just making that. He's a good pitcher, but I've always thought in watching him pitch and then seeing his data, he went on a good run, but I don't think that he's not like, if I was thinking about Washington, he's not Cavalli. Cavalli throws really hard, has great stuff. Foster Griffin's older, has good stuff, not great stuff, hittable. And if he's not on, he can get hit. And I think that's probably one of the things you're running into. And of all teams, right, Detroit's been hitting. So that's kind of where you run into this is what do you do? Because run value score shows Valdez is the better pitcher today. Well, I'm not so sure that I trust Valdez. I've tried to trust him, and every time I've tried to trust him, I lose. So I'm kind of not really there. But here's the deal. Griffin's not striking guys out, 13%. And 13%, 6.5 is a swing and miss percentage. That's really, really low. Balls are in play. You're not striking guys out. And he's walking guys too. So Griffin, he's not walking guys. He's giving up the home runs. So 1.5 home runs. Batting average against is over 300. That doesn't match up to a team that can hit. And that's what Detroit's doing right now. Now, I would say this. Cleveland's hitting too. Cleveland scoring almost 5 runs a game. Detroit scoring 6. So it's interesting that both of these teams are doing that. This sounds to me more like an over than it does picking a side. So that's kind of where I think this game might go. But every time you sit there and start trying to bet overs in these spots, the bullpens come in and keep it down. And you got two good bullpens here. So that's kind of where I think I'm just going to watch it and see what happens. I didn't do this Miami-Pittsburgh game, so if somebody wants me to do Miami and Pittsburgh, we'll do it. But you got Junk against Mudzinski. Mudzinski is taking over now because Keller got hurt. So he's starting. He was a starting pitcher at the beginning, and then Jones came in to replace him. So he became the long reliever, and now he's getting his chance to start games again. He's not a bad pitcher. He's a pretty good pitcher, but that's it. He's a pretty good pitcher. Junk, I never really liked Junk. His stuff's not that good. But Junk, he's a 1.5 WAR guy, projected WAR guy. Actually, I don't think it's that high. And then you have Mladzinski, who's almost a 2. So there is advantage in a pitcher for Pirates, but the Marlins are hitting and they're hitting decently. They're not hitting like they were when they were with the best record in baseball. And I forget what month it was, April or May or one of them months. But they're hitting a little bit. I'm just going to stay off this game. I don't know who's going to win this game, and I'm not so sure it really matters. Like if Pittsburgh wins, does that make them going to make the playoffs? Is it going to make them run to make the playoffs? Probably not. What about Miami? Well, I was impressed with Yuri Perez pitching yesterday. That was good. He has those starts where he's very, very, very dominant. So we'll see what this looks like for Junk and go from there. The next one is the Cubs, and the Cubs are playing Washington. Washington is starting a guy named Kent. His last name is Kent. He's a left-handed pitcher. He's a highly touted prospect for them. Probably a little too soon to be out there, but that's what they're doing. We'll see what he looks like. That's usually a little bit of an advantage to the pitcher because obviously the other guys have never seen you. And that's usually an advantage maybe only in the first 5 innings because once they see you and you have to go through them a second or a third time, they're going to adjust and they're going to hit. Peterson on the other side is pitching for the Cubs. Peterson's been, pretty decent, but not great. He's just been average. He gives up home runs. And I thought, and I didn't do this game, but he gives up the home runs. Washington hits the home runs. So I'm just staying away from this one. The line's going to be, what is the line in this game? It's Chicago on the road, 150. Says there's another team that will pass Philadelphia. Miami, I'd say Arizona has a great shot too. Philly's a choke artist. At least we won't have to watch them lose in the first round. Man, I'd love to see Philly make the playoffs. I hope they'd play the Braves because I think the Phillies will beat the Braves. That's what I would want to see. I want to see the Phillies in the playoffs because I want to see that stadium rocking and I want to see the offense going and when they make the playoffs, they're going to have 3 of the best pitchers that you would want lined up. So I like it, and they got a decent bullpen closer guy at least anyway, and they just got to get things together. I think everybody panics too soon about some of these teams. Phillies will be all right. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Like the Padres need to make a run, and they got to stay running. They got to stay running. I don't know if they will or not. The Diamondbacks are going to. They don't have nothing. So I don't think they're going to get there. I think, talent-wise, the Padres have a chance. I don't think the Diamondbacks do. So we'll see what it looks like as things all break down and shake out. None of those teams are better than the Phillies. Says Ariz has been a nice addition, but I'm not optimistic. He's been energy. That's what that team needs. That team needs some energy, and that's why they play so much better at home. Their crowd and the noise and the stadium and the raucous environment gives them energy, and they play better there. They don't have those guys. Harper's not an energy guy. Bohm certainly is not. Trey Turner is not. Schwarber's not. They just walk up there and they either hit a home run, strike out, or walk and come back and whatever. So my opinion is that the Phillies are good, and they just need energy and stuff. Miller and Warren. My computer likes the Yankees. I don't know if I like the Yankees. The Yankees win games these days, because they're optimistic about certain things and they get a key hit at a certain time. And the way they're winning is their starting pitching is dominant. They are. Bohm should have been sent out for a 6-pack of Schlitz. There you go. I think it's too bad about that kid. I think that kid's actually got talent. So not sure what his deal is, but somebody needs to get a hold of him and fix him. But Miller's been really bad. So he started off really good, had a great start to the season, from when he was hurt, which is what gave Hancock his chance. And Hancock, made it so they could trade Castillo. So now you have Miller, but Miller, of the games that I did, has got the worst numbers. He's a 5.08 run value score, and Warren's got a much lower one. Warren gets hit though. So here's the conundrum. You've got Warren who gets hit against the Mariners who don't hit. So it's a funny thing. And then you've got Warren who can get hit against the Yankees who don't hit. So So my thoughts on these games, this whole series: bet under, bet under, bet under, bet under, because neither team can score, and then they both have pretty decent bullpens. Suarez and Soriano. Suarez hasn't been his best of late, but I still don't think that means that he won't be good. And Soriano is kind of this weird guy now that occasionally pitches good, but a lot of times doesn't. And what I didn't like about this game when I looked at it, Boston is 6th in offense, and Toronto is 18th. But let's take it one step deeper, just so that you can see what I look at. One of the numbers is xWOBA. So I look at WOBA, right, weighted on base percentage, and then I look at what really predicted wise is and what should be their numbers, right? So it's kind of like a BABIP number. So batted balls in play, whatever. So are they being lucky or unlucky? Well, Boston is 343. That's green WOBA number. But their xWOBA number is 311, which means they've been kind of lucky to get what they've been getting. And then Toronto is 311 on WOBA number. xWOBA is 308. So the difference is 308 to 311. There's not much difference in the offenses, even though Boston's showing better. That's my concern with betting Boston. Is I like Boston. I want to bet Boston, but at the same time, I want to bet Boston. They've lost 4 in a row. That doesn't mean they won't lose 5, and it doesn't mean that they won't win this first game back. Soriano, I think, has a chance to pitch pretty well, and I just don't want to get into a coin flip kind of game and be the favorite minus 120 or whatever. So I stayed away from that one. I was surprised to see Cincinnati beat the White Sox yesterday, but I'm not getting involved in this one. With the White Sox, Louder against Castillo, not going to happen. Thornton against MAHLE, I'm not getting involved in this one either. The reason I'm not getting involved is because Thornton's been hit or miss, and he's been missed a lot. And so that means you're going to have to bet on MAHLE, and MAHLE's minus 150 or something, right? It's minus 150. I'm not doing that. I can't. MAHLE's not a minus 150 pitcher, so I'm not doing that. Kansas City is playing the Dodgers, and I know it says somebody else is the pitcher for Kansas City. But it's not. It's going to be Mason Black. Black is the guy who they wanted to be come up and be a good guy. He's not been good at all against Lauer, who's not been good at all. So I don't like either of those. And then you got Quantrill and Klassen. Oh my God, what a matchup! Um, you got an old veteran guy who's trying to get it, and Klassen who's just terrible, and both teams can't hit. So look, that's it. So that's what I got for you today.
Me and Scotty will be back Friday at high noon. I will be a guest at 2:30 today with Scott Wetzel on FanStream. So if you want to follow along there, shout out to Buck Skull Gang in house. Shout out to, of course, PB. Shout out to Rocket Sauce. Shout out to Kenny Magner. The other regular cast of characters, of course, Jay Berry, Mr. Lucky, Dr. Lance. Again, we're almost halfway through August. In the next week or two, me and Scotty will be putting together a schedule where, again, if we're on 3 times a week, we're going to start really leaning on the football, the college football, the NFL football. We're not abandoning the baseball. So I might have some, if we're doing 3 shows a week, we might have one baseball show, one football show, and then maybe on Friday we'll have a football/baseball show or baseball
It's a
slash
hybrid show.
hybrid show. So, guys, make sure you're following Scotty at Webby20MLB. Come on over and follow me at EC Sports Invest. Again, one-stop shopping here as well. Mr. Rocket Sauce says, have a good one, fellas. See you on Friday. Kenny Magnus says, thanks, boys. Again, we're in that spot, guys. We're past the trade deadline. We're past the dog days of summer. As Scotty said, you know, the other day, we're about 40 games left of the season, and it's almost like the spaghetti strainer on steroids because there's only a handful of games that matter. Meaning, yeah, I know there's teams that are like the Pirates, 6 games out of the wild card, but just take a look at their how they're playing. We talked about the AL Central, where all these teams are leaking oil right now, but the Tigers. So again, the Red Sox 27-3 their last 30. They've lost 4 in a row. Again, could they lose today? Absolutely. You could see it coming. It's just regression. It's a part of a 162 game marathon approach. So if don't be the square peg in the round hole. I know we got to scratch itches. I know we all have opinions, but just stay in your lanes. Pick and choose. Again, today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, and the weekend's almost here. So,
Hey, don't lose all your money betting on fake football either.
yeah, kickoff tomorrow. Preseason. Me and Scotty will talk a little Friday about what happened on Thursday. Again, listen, and you're going to get the pros and the cons about betting preseason football. Oh, I got a guy who's got a guy that's got a guy that handles the Gatorade for this football team, and he said that she said that Kenny Magnus starting at quarterback for the Bengals today. So we should bet against the other team. So again, don't be that guy, and just save the bankroll for September, okay? So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, one and only Mr. Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB, we wish everyone a blessed day. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for the questions. We can't thank you enough, and stay tuned.